Hey guys, and welcome to my very first video where I'll be talking about how to grow your muscles in just a short period of time. So this video is actually pretty short. It's just get testosterone and inject it. And yeah, that's how you grow your muscles. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, it's only that easy, right? A lot of people do this. A lot of people use androgens in order to achieve the growth that they want to see in just a short period of time. However, I'm here to tell you that there's many different ways to achieve adequate amount of muscle growth in just a short period of time without the use of anabolics. So, maybe you're watching this video in order to find more educational approaches to obviously growing your muscles without the traditional methods. And if so, this video is for you, because what we're going to talk about is something very simple, something very basic that you can change. And I promise you'll see results in just a matter of a month. And so this is going to be talking about changing resistance training to something very simple. So with that being said, we need to talk about the motion of an exercise, okay? The range of motion of an exercise. So the range of motion incorporates both the positive and the negative motion to an exercise. All right, so let's take, for example, chest press. The chest press, you move outward, and that's your positive motion. But moving backwards is your negative motion, okay? So positive is outward and negative is inward. Now that changes when you're talking about a pulling motion, right? Because pulling motion, let's say, for example, my pull downs, my lat pull downs, I'm coming down with the lat pull downs, right? And I'm coming down. However, I'm going upwards because the force is directed in this direction. So now I'm moving upwards with it. However, I'm still incorporating the lat as the main muscle group along with the biceps. Okay, so whatever exercise you choose for this routine, you're still incorporating the same muscle group. Okay? The muscle group is not changed. Okay, the positive and the negative are just in reference to the usual direction of activity. The usual direction of activity for the chest press is outward. Okay, look at the direction my arms are going. They're going outward. However, when I go backwards, it's the negative motion, but I'm still working my chest, my triceps, my shoulders. So please, keep that in mind. If you think that you're not working out your chest or your arms when you're doing this motion, you definitely are, and you definitely are going to feel it much more than you would just a regular positive motion. The reason I say that is because when I'm telling you to incorporate this, we're going to incorporate this a little differently. Okay, so now you know what the positive and the negative motion are to any sort of exercise. Okay, and the same can be applied if you choose, you can even choose the squat if you wanted to, and we're not going to, but you could. Okay, but let's just start with regular machines. And I want you to stick to machines if you're going to incorporate this, because machines are very basic motions. Okay, they're very stringent. They're very limited, and you can't get injured or hurt using this. Okay, you still could, but the way I'm going to show you this, you can't. All right, and we're going to prevent injury, and we're going to maximize growth by just following my steps. All right, so whatever muscle group you'd like to train or see the most growth in, you're going to go train and follow these steps. Let's say, for example, it's the chest press. We're gonna stick to the chest press because it's a fairly basic motion that you can't really mess up if you try this. Okay, so you're gonna go to your chest press. Okay, and you're gonna pick a weight. Okay, we're gonna say intensity every time I say weight. We're gonna pick an intensity that's somewhere between low and intermediate. We're not gonna go very high intensity, because the high intensity can, again, you might cause damage, and especially might cause damage if you haven't tried these in a while or you haven't done these before. All right, so you want to stick to something fairly simple, low weight, medium intensity. Okay, so medium intensity, what I mean by that is something that you can do 12 to 15 times. We'll stay around that margin. 12 to 15 is your intermediate, and we'll say 16 to 20 is very low weight for you. So if you're new to this, I recommend the low region. If you're not new to this, you can maybe shoot for 12 to 15. All right. So let's say you're new, you go 20 pounds. Let's say 20 pounds is light for you. You can do 16 to 20. All right. So if you want to try this routine, you're going to do it like you regularly do it, the positive outward, but now the inward is where this, you're going to implement this strategy. All right. So the inward motion, the backward motion that you would traditionally kind of just forget about, right? Because when you do a positive exercise, then you just go right back doing the positive. So I'm gonna tell you why that's not effective. Okay, and I'm gonna explain it to you, and it's very simple why it's not as effective uh, as this strategy. It breaks down to this: the muscle cells are responding to intensity over time. Okay, intensity over time, intensity over time. Think of it like that. If you think of it like that, this concept will be embedded in you, and you'll apply it to everything that you use in the gym. All right, whether they be free weight or whether that be machines or whether that be dips, it doesn't matter. So, if you apply this mentality, the concept of muscle growth will be, you'll be an expert in it. So again, it's intensity over time. So now if I'm doing a positive repetition, the time is very limited. Okay. It's only a couple seconds, right? It's a positive motion. I'm moving outward and, I don't get anything when I go downward. However, if I maximize my time to where the strain is now not only are more muscle groups involved, right? Or we shall say more sarcomeres involved. Sarcomeres are the muscle cells. More sarcomeres involved, okay? But you're also maximizing the time and the intensity, okay? So with these maximized, you will see a much more profound uh, growth than you would with just doing it for a couple seconds, because again the muscle is getting more strain over a period of time than it would otherwise. It breaks down to this: you're going to want to obviously um, have your positive repetition as you normally would, right? And as we begin to enter the negative phase of the repetition, you're going to want to hold that for a period of time. This period of time is obviously very variable based on what you decide. Okay, so this we can leave up to debate on the time principle of it, but it's a period to where we'll say not long enough for you to achieve muscle failure on it, but long enough to where you can achieve an adequate contraction. All right. So we're going to say like 15 to 20 seconds. We'll keep that time in mind, but you can obviously change this. Okay, it's up to you to change it, but I'm just introducing the overall activity to you. That way, now the duration is up to you to decide. So my duration is always based on, I'm not necessarily counting or anything like that. And I never count and do repetitions. I'm always counting in terms of my muscle response to whatever activity I'm doing, and then a little more. Right. So my negative repetition is going to indicate to me how much on the positive I'm going to go next time. So for example, let's say I do my positive repetition regular. Now I go my negative, and I'm holding it and I'm holding it and I'm holding it. And it's becoming difficult. Okay, let's say I've done 15 to 20 and I'm going all the way through. Okay, I'm not just dropping. I'm going all the way through the entire activity of the motion. Okay, and sometimes I like to even get more of the sarcomeres involved. So I'm going, let's say, it starts back here. I'm going to make sure that, that all of the sarcomeres are involved. Okay, the more sarcomere involvement, the better you'll see. Because again, the general idea is that it's intensity over time. So the time principle is going to be obviously incorporated, but the intensity to all the sarcomeres getting involved is going to have your greatest benefit when you look in the mirror or when you actually start to see the growth. It'll have a significant difference. So the more sarcomere incorporation, the better. So I'm making sure to incorporate more sarcomeres into the movement. Okay, so again, I go out and I do my positive repetition, and I'm holding and I'm holding and I'm holding. And again, the time is variable. We'll say 20 seconds. So it goes 1, 2, 3. And as I'm counting down and as I'm moving towards the 20 seconds, I'm making sure that I'm constantly incorporating all the sarcomere activity. Okay, and again, I push outwards. I'm not getting any rest in between. If you need rest in between, then you stop the motion and you get some rest. And I'm talking about, obviously, if the lactic acid is building up, or you're getting some, obviously some pain in the muscle. But that's good. That's a good sign, obviously. When you do positive repetitions, it takes you a while to build up pain, because maybe you get very efficient at it, or maybe you're used to it. But with these activities, you'll notice the pain fairly quickly, because the time, and you'll get better at these too. You'll get better over time as you become to accustomed to the eccentric motion. You'll notice that the eccentric motion you can do more of, and that's when you become efficient at that. So then we're gonna have to switch that up. So it becomes this thing where you need to be constantly changing your workouts. But I wanted to mention that, as that's important. And something else you're going to want to pay attention to is how many sets you're doing. You can do 3 to 4 sets of these. You can also go as low as 1 set. It just depends on how many you can do adequately. So I would recommend you start off with 2 to 3. 2 to 3 sets is a fairly good amount to do. Again, you want to make sure that your repetitions are being involved in each dynamic, movement. Okay, so your repetitions are going to want to vary anywhere between, if you're intermediate, you can do 12 to 15. If you're new to this, 16 to 20, but 16 to 20 good ones. Okay, so 16 to 20 of these, and you're going to feel it, fairly less if you're doing the low weight. You might feel it after 5 or 6. And at that point, if you feel it at 5 or 6, of a regular 16 to 20s on the positive, then you're just going to want to stop right there. Okay. If you're getting 5 to 6, just immediately stop and let the tissue recover from the strain that you've put on it. And then you do another set. Okay. And then your second set is going to get difficult as well, because it gets more difficult. Again, your body's going to be fairly new to this. So yeah, you can do 2 to 3 sets. If you're new, you can aim for 3 to 4 sets. Just yesterday, I did 4 sets of chest press, and but I did it differently. I did a triangle approach where I started at low weight and I moved gradually upwards. And you can vary these methods any way you want. We're going to obviously talk about other methods into pyramiding and reverse pyramiding, and drop sets and supersets. All these things will make sense to you, because again, you're just changing the overall dynamics of the workout so that you experience some kind of hypertrophy to the muscle. But because this is fairly new to you, you're going to experience hypertrophy regardless of if you're moving up in weight or moving down in weight, just because of the eccentric motion altogether. So the eccentric motion, the negative motion, okay, will be enough to where you should see something fairly quickly. Okay. And if you don't, there's other ways that you can incorporate change into this motion as well. And so it's always about incorporating some kind of new activity to your muscle to where you will see the difference. Okay, but that's important that you try that, and make sure you could stay consistently doing it over this month. You don't just do it for a couple times and say, oh, it didn't work for me. Make sure you're doing it, and you can do this for every motion, really. Like I told you about, it just varies on the free weight activity that you decide on. Okay, so can you do it for lat pull downs? Of course you could. Okay. I can, yeah, it's not that much where it's too much free weight. Would I recommend it for a shoulder press? No, I would not. Would I recommend it for a bench press? I would not recommend that either. Or a squat? No. Or, a dumbbell chest press. I'm not recommending that either. Okay. Any sort of dumbbell activity we can reserve for later. There's some really good motions for For example, the Arnold curls. I love Arnold curls, and the negative on the Arnold curls, because the biceps will really see the difference. Okay, your biceps will really notice the difference on a negative on an Arnold curl. Okay, and the Arnold curls, of course, I'm referring to. Well, they're all preacher curls, as they're formerly called. Okay, so these are the ones over kind of like a stationary sort of, I don't know what to call it exactly, but basically your arms are restricted. It's a restricted motion, and you're isolating your biceps almost completely. And there you can do it because, again, it's a restricted motion. So you're really just preventing any sort of, the dynamics of the tendon moving or anything like that. It's going to really stay limited to that. So that's where, you'll have the most engagement of the muscle, along with the prevention of, potential tendon problems. Um, so, so I really want you to take that home, because it's a very good learning point for this, and it's something that you'll understand why the basic motion is not giving you the results that you want it to give you. Because the basic motion, I mean, not only are we evolutionarily programmed for it, because if you think about it, our muscles, our everyday muscles, like for example, the working man, the one that picks up objects like let's say a briefcase, just for the example, because no one picks up a briefcase, but picking up a briefcase, picking up luggage, picking up whatever, it's just a positive motion upward, right? And it's fairly simple, so our bodies are pretty efficient at doing it. However, if you just change it, not only are your muscles not accustomed to it, it also makes sense to, this intensity over time principle, why it would have such a drastic change in a small period of time. It just makes logical sense. And I wanted to kind of break down the logic for you as to why this works. Okay. So, I want you to try this for a month. Do it 3 to 4 times a week. If you can. If your muscle's too sore because you did it a first time and you can't do it again, I would wait 2 to 3 days before you train the muscle again, maybe even longer. Depends on how sore it is. Soreness is an indicator of how much recovery you'll want to have. So if it's sore, I don't recommend you train it. Okay. If it's pretty adequately, if you can move it and you can, and there's no pain or no struggle, then I would recommend you do it again. I recommend you keep doing it, and it's important that you keep doing it because, again, these bands, the muscle bands, will actually hypertrophy. They'll grow in response to the intensity you're giving it over that time principle. And you can apply this to anything, really. I would stick to machines if you're trying this for the first time and you want to see the growth to it. But otherwise, I would stick to your regular, I wouldn't go free weight. I would stick to machines. All right, so try this out. Let me know how you do on it after a month. Give it some time and make sure you're getting the proper nutrition, obviously. We could talk about nutrition in a separate video because I do have a lot to talk about nutrition. But, make sure you're getting your whey protein. That's a crucial element. And your sleep, adequate sleep. Recovery, it's based on sleep. So make sure you're sleeping well. Okay, and that being said, I hope you try it. Let me know in the comments if you actually saw some benefit, you actually saw some growth, because I've obviously recommended this strategy to a couple of different people, and I've even trained people using this strategy, and it's worked, and it's worked for me. So obviously let me know your approach. If there's anything I can help on, feel free to contact me. You can subscribe to this channel for more content related to this. I'll be talking about, hopefully posting more videos talking about these separate strategies that can go into building muscle and nutrition. But I feel muscle is one of those topics that a lot of people are confused by. You don't need to be on testosterone therapy to have adequate building, adequate muscle building. because, you know, a lot of people, I feel like it's becoming a theme to especially in modern day, to be using androgens to gain muscle in a small period of time. You don't need it. You don't need it. And I guarantee you there's other methods that are involved into doing this. Okay. And one of the things that we will talk about is that this strategy will incorporate a larger amount of testosterone, because of the sarcomere involvement. Okay. That is a separate discussion physiologically that I do not want to get into now, but it's important that you realize that these strategies are going to be very crucial to your muscle growth. So yeah, let me know how it goes. And, you know, feel free to subscribe and feel free to comment on your suggestions and, you know, have an open discussion about it. Thank you so much.